So, Under Night in Birth 2, we're not gonna say the whole thing, came out a couple of weeks ago, and I hopped back into the game. So, just like with the release of SF6, I went and asked some top Under Night players to try to come up with advice that they would think is not so common for people who are getting into the game. So, I asked Ruric, Masoma, Juushichi, and Foxof, all quite well known Under Night in Birth players, to share some advice, and as a bonus, once again, I'll share something that I feel like is pretty important from my time playing the game.
Hey, I'm Foxof. LordKnight asked if we could go through and give some pieces of advice from an experienced Uni player's perspective, so here we go. Uni is a pretty system-oriented game. Grid controls the entire pace of a match. You've got these option selects that you're supposed to do. You're failing the dash block tutorial. Shoutouts to Sajam. It can be a little overwhelming at first. The common piece of advice is go through the game's tutorial, and I definitely agree, but you should also understand that you're not going to absorb everything all at once. You got to give yourself a little grace. Take the information in, let it wash over you, and you can come back to it later. In my first year, I was really struggling with empty jump and empty assault. No one had told me about fuzzy mashing. Fuzzy mashing is where you press a button as the opponent is falling, and you either block their falling button or you jab their landing. I had never heard about this, but for me, this was this big revelation, and I was like, why isn't this in the tutorial? Well, as it turns out, it is. I had just missed it.
See, the biggest tip I can give a player that's new to Uni, trying to learn for the first time, is please focus on learning your character first before trying to dive into the grid system and playing around that. So many players that are new to the game try to do everything with grid and play around it or learn all about it when you first get on, but you should first learn how to play your character. It doesn't have to be at a high level or optimal level or anything. You just know how to control your character and get comfortable with them. Comfort is the biggest thing. Once you finish that, then you can start getting into grid dynamics and the mind games behind that, because then it will be much easier for you to learn at that point.
Hello everyone, I am Juushichi. LK wanted me to basically give some advice for a player seeking to get into Under Night. And that piece of advice is to get really comfortable with like your character's like strong normals. So for example, Akatsuki has 2C, Wagner has space control normals like 6B. Those are the sorts of normals that you're going to want to get comfortable in as you are boxing other characters for kind of neutral control and things like that.
I was asked to make a very small, like 1-2 minute video on advice to new players that might not be common to receive. And my advice is that jumping is an incredibly strong defensive option, because jumps are fast and they shift your hurt box way up, and you can avoid a lot of pressure resets that way. So if someone is doing that, you have a lot of options against that kind of pressure reset. You have really good ways to do that. Like, this one doesn't punish, but you know what? She got out. So when you think that someone is wanting to do that, you jump and figure out your best normal for getting out.
And last but not least, your boy is back. So Under Night in Birth is a game about systems in the end. And even though it's hard to manipulate the system when you're starting the game, I think one piece of advice that I think is pretty helpful is you should use the chain shift mechanic every single opportunity you get, mostly because it's a really important part of the game, and two, by using it, you'll see more opportunities to use it, and when you watch yourself or high-level players play, or other people who play your characters play, it will make a lot more sense how they use it, why they use it, where they use it, and what type of things you can do with it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, definitely feel free to leave them in the comment sections below. Thank you so much to Ruric, Masoma, Foxof, and Juushichi for helping me with this video. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.